All right. I just read that SEC document that lays out the next 10 years of crypto in America. So if you haven't read it, it's the White House document and it came out just on July 31st and it's titled American Leadership in the Digital Financial Revolution. So I read it and it's basically a speech from the chairman of SEC who replaced Gary Gensler. His name is Paul Atkins and it's dated for it just came out like July 31st, 2025. So, and I need you to listen closely because this is not just like another speech about like, getting into the SEC. So, what Paul Atkins wrote is a script for the next act of the entire crypto industry. On the surface, it's a dream come true. It is everything the industry has been on its knees begging for: clarity, a welcome imposter, end to the regulation by enforcement nightmare that defined the last few years, right? And it's also you remember that, right? Right? The constant anxiety, the Operation Choke Point 2.0 that was happening under Gary Gensler, that starved good companies of banking services, the lawsuits that seemed to come out of nowhere. It was a war of attrition. This speech is a ceasefire. It declares that. Chairman Paul Atkins literally announces something called Project Crypto. It's a sweeping initiative with the stated goal of aiding President Trump in making America the crypto capital of the world. That sounds great, right? Let's pop the champagne. We won. The government is finally on our side. But I think we should hold on and take a breath. Because before we all start celebrating, we need to understand what this speech actually is. It's not a peace treaty, it's a corporate takeover plan disguised as a policy speech. This is the government officially flipping the switch, turning crypto from a rogue revolutionary technology into a strategic, domesticated national asset. And when that happens, the rules of the game don't change. The entire stadium gets rebuilt. And it's being rebuilt for a very specific kind of team, and the scrappy innovators probably are not getting season tickets. Do you understand? The speech is filled with these grand, almost sleepy historical references. He talks about the Buttonwood Tree Agreement in 1792 that started the New York Stock Exchange and the paperwork crisis of the 1960s when Wall Street was literally drowning in paper stock certificates. Remember that? He's using this history to create a narrative. He's trying to frame this radical change as just another boring, natural chapter in American financial innovation. He's saying, see, relax, we have done this before. We adapted from paper to computers, and now we will adapt from computers to blockchain. It is all the same. It is a brilliant rhetorical trick, but it is a trick. But the subtext, the real message is what matters. He talks about reshoring the crypto businesses that fled our country. That sounds good. Bring the jobs and innovation back home. But let us be real for a second. Who are the businesses that had the money, the army of lawyers, and the C suite connections to pack up multi $1 million operations and move to Dubai or Singapore or the Bahamas in the first place? It was not the two-person startup in a garage with a genuinely new idea. It was the big, well-funded, established crypto corporations. This is not an open invitation to every innovator. It's a welcome home party with a red carpet rolled out for the crypto elite that can afford to play the Washington, D.C. game. He says, Paul Atkins says, the days of convoluted offshore corporate structures and decentralization are over. And again, good. We all know decentralization theory, projects pretending to be run by a mystical headless DAO just to avoid the SEC's wrath. But what replaces it exactly? What does the new government approved structure look like? This brings us to the absolute core of the speech, the part that you need to read 5 times. The chairman outlines a clear key priority: facilitating super apps. He even jokes maybe they will call it regulation super app. He defines it plainly. It's going to be a single company with a single efficient license, should be able to offer a massive range of products and services all under one roof. Imagine one app where you can trade your stocks, where you can have your crypto securities, your non-security crypto like Bitcoin, plus get yield from staking and borrow and lend and get your assets. The whole financial buffet in one place, right? Now ask yourself a simple cold-blooded question. Who can actually build that? Who has the billions in capital, the legions of compliance officers, the existing licenses, and the political power to become a one-stop shop for all of finance. Is it a new DeFi protocol born from a hackathon? Let's be for real. No, of course not. It is BlackRock. It is Fidelity. It is JP Morgan, the same people who said that they weren't going to get into crypto. It is a fully scaled Coinbase. This is a regulatory framework custom built for the giants. It's an explicit blueprint for the horizontal integration of TradFi and crypto. The speech literally says this model has worked well for banks who are broadly exempted from many duplicative regulatory frameworks. They're not just inviting the Wall Street incumbents to the party, they are giving them the keys to the entire venue and a blueprint for how to build a bigger one. They are telling them to build the financial board, and they're going to clear the regulatory path to make it happen. And there's the holy grail, clarity, the promise to finally create clear and simple rules of the road for what is and is not a security. This is what everyone wanted. Chairman Atkins says plainly, most crypto assets are not securities. He talks about creating clear categories, digital collectibles, digital commodities, stable coins, etc., to finally end the maddening confusion of the decades-old Howey test. But this clarity is a double-edged sword. That ambiguity, that regulatory gray area, is where permissionless innovation thrived. The Wild West era was messy and full of scams, but it was also radically open. By creating neat, government-approved lanes, you domesticate the technology, you tame it, you make it safe, predictable, and ready for institutional balance sheets. An asset that is officially blessed as a digital commodity gets to be traded with a margin on CFTC-regulated platforms, unlocking huge pools of liquidity. An asset that is a crypto asset security gets its own purpose-fit disclosure rules, making it easy for Goldman Sachs to tokenize stocks, bonds, and any other real-world asset they want to put on chain. These aren't just labels, they are government-assigned destinies that determine who gets to profit from them. This entire document, all of it, it's not about fostering a revolution, it's about co-opting one. It's about taking the chaotic, decentralized creative energy of crypto and channeling it into a structured, federally approved system that cements America's financial dominance for the next century. The goal is to have the entire world running on the backbone of American technology, as the president said, and the backbone will not be run by anonymous devs in a DAO. It will be run by SEC-registered super apps. This is not a tragedy. It's just a natural, predictable evolution of any groundbreaking technology. It moves from the fringe to the mainstream, from revolution to institution, but we have to be brutally honest about what that means. It means the game is shifting from building decentralized alternatives to building compliant, integrated financial products. This speech is the starting gun for the race. The Cambrian explosion of innovation he talks about will happen, but it will happen inside the well-lit, regulated walls, gardens of the new American crypto financial complex. So what does this mean for you? For anyone who wants to build $1 trillion worth of value, it means you have to be ruthless. You have to see the world as it is, not as you wish it were. The revolutionary phase is over. The institutionalization phase has begun. You have to pivot your strategy. Your capital needs to get smarter. It's no longer about finding the next 100x meme coin. It's about funding the core infrastructure of this new regulated world. So, I'm thinking about investing in the plumbers, custody and compliance as a service. The new super apps will be paranoid about security and compliance. They can't afford a hack or a regulatory misstep, so they will pay a fortune for best-in-class third-party custody solutions and reg tech software. This software does the boring stuff: transaction monitoring for anti-money laundering, automated reporting to regulators, smart contract audits. It is the unsexy plumbing that makes the entire system work. Find the private or public companies building this plumbing. That is where the real sticky value will be. Invest in the bridges, tokenization platforms. The speech screams that the tokenization of all real-world assets is coming, but tokenizing a skyscraper or portfolio of private loans is incredibly complex. It requires a platform that can handle the legal, technical, and financial hurdles. Invest in the companies that are building these specialized regulated bridges between real-world assets and the blockchain. They will be the new stock exchanges for everything that is not a traditional stock. Invest in the future winners, proto super apps. Shift your thinking from tokens to equities. The real winners of this regulatory framework will not be a token protocol. They will be the publicly traded corporations that successfully acquire a super app license. Analyze the existing players like the Coinbase, the Robinhoods, maybe an even aggressive TradFi player like Interactive Brokers, and ask who has the management team, the technology, and the regulatory strategy to become one of the first approved super apps. Buy stock in that company. You're not betting on a token, you're betting on a government-sanctioned oligopoly. If you want to build something, then you can also take your time and energy as your most valuable assets and stop wasting them on projects that are fighting yesterday's war. The fight for a purely decentralized, anonymous financial system is losing to the reality of a regulated, integrated market. Build the boring B2B bridge. Don't build another customer facing crypto wallet with a cool UI. Instead, build the boring, complex, and absolutely critical B2B software that allows a traditional bank's multi-trillion-dollar core banking system to securely interact with a public blockchain. Build the enterprise-grade API that lets a hedge fund risk model pull in real-time DeFi data. The demand for solving these unglamorous integration problems for huge institutions is practically infinite. Become a niche tokenization expert. Don't become a jack of all trades. Pick one specific high value, illiquid asset class, things like royalties, fine art, private credit, commercial real estate debt, and become the world's leading expert on the legal and technical requirements to tokenize it. Build a company that does nothing but that one thing. You won't just be a tech founder, you'll be the market maker, creating liquidity where there was none. That is how real value is created. Build the tools for the new gatekeepers master RegTech. The new competitive moat is in finance is not just technology. It's the ability to navigate a labyrinth of regulations. Instead of fighting the moat, sell tools to the people inside it. Build technology that automates and radically simplifies compliance. Build a smart contract standard for tokenized securities that has compliance features baked in, making it the go-to for Wall Street. Build a system that allows for on-chain trading while respecting the rules of regulation NMS. Turn the regulatory burden into a technology problem and then sell the solution. The dream of a totally separate, anarchic financial system is dead. This speech is the formal eulogy. The new dream, the $1 trillion opportunity, is in building the regulated, efficient, and institution friendly financial system of the future on top of this powerful technology. Build for that world. All right, everybody. If you liked my take on things, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment because YouTube will push this to more audiences, and it also motivates me to keep creating more videos because I love talking about this stuff, and it's good. It's cool to have an audience that listens to it because otherwise I'd just be talking to somebody in the real world who I interact with who just probably wouldn't really care about this stuff. So I'm trying to find people who care about this stuff. So that's why I'm doing this. So if you could leave a like, subscribe, comment, and help push this out, that'd be really cool. So thanks. This is Alpha Panda. I'll see you on the next one.